welcome to the internet. My name is Kristen and today I'm going to be doing my January and February wrap-up and my March TBR. Alright, so I'll be the first to admit that I'm really bad at reading during the school year. I just don't have time for it and I'm bad at finding time. When I do have time, usually I'll watch YouTube videos instead because yeah. But anyway, in the months of January and February, I read 5 books. So here they are. The first book I read was Cinder by Marissa Meyer, and it is a retelling of Cinderella, but it involves cyborgs, and it's really good if you're into fairy tale retellings. I highly suggest reading this book. It was so good. I personally love fairy tales, so it was just so good, and I can't wait to read the rest of the series because there's already 2 other books out, and I think more are coming out after that as well, so yes. The second book that I read was The Statistical Probability of Love at First Sight by Jennifer E. Smith. And this is a book with a classic love story. Boy meets girl, falls in love, they meet on a plane, and then they're in London, and it's really good. And if you're just looking for a good romance to read, I suggest this one. 10 out of 10. It was so good, and it's really short and quick. So if you just want kind of a pick-me-up, then you should definitely check this one out. Next, I read Throne of Glass by Sarah J. Maas, and I did a book review on this, so if you want to check that out, you can click on the book right now and it'll take you there. But basically what this book is about is a girl who's an assassin who's in a death camp, but then she gets taken to the palace because the king is having a competition to find a champion, and the prince has selected her to fight for him in the competition, and there's all sorts of twists and turns and the cute little love triangle that's actually really good, and I love it a lot, and you should read this if you want assassins, because assassins are pretty freaking awesome. Then I read Since You've Been Gone by Morgan Matson, and if you haven't noticed, I kind of like to alternate between dystopian / science fiction and some sort of contemporary romance novel because I'm really bad at reading a lot of dystopian all in a row because it all just gets confused in my head, so I gotta clear it out with some cute little contemporary romances. Yay! This is about a girl named Emily, and her best friend disappears for the summer and she has no idea where she went, but she's left with a checklist. So she figures that if she completes all of the tasks on this list, that she will be able to find her best friend again, so she goes on this crazy adventure and makes some new friends, and it's really good. And I loved the way it was written with the list and all of these things that she had to accomplish, and it was like the beginning of each chapter, it was a different step on the list, so you knew kind of what was going to happen in that chapter, but you still wanted to know how it happened, and it was just really good. And lastly, I read Silent Echo by Elisa Freelich. I don't know if I'm pronouncing your name right, I'm really sorry. But this is about a girl whose name is Portia, and she's been mute her whole life, but all of a sudden, she finds her voice, and it is the voice of a siren, and this book is filled with all sorts of mythology and stuff like that. So if you're into like mythology and music, I would suggest checking this out because it has a lot of that in it. And it's just a really good read, and it's got some good love interests in it, and the music, and everything. And now we move on to my March TBR. And as I said, I'm not very good at reading during school, so I only have 3 books that I'm going to try to read in March, and hopefully I'll be able to read more, but I'm just going to set myself the goal of 3, and hopefully I'll be able to accomplish that. So the first 2 books are the next books in the series that I showed you from my January-February wrap-up. So the first book that I want to read in March is Scarlet by Marissa Meyer, which is the second book in the Lunar Chronicles series, which is right after Cinder. And this is kind of a retelling of Little Red Riding Hood from what I've gathered. Other than that, I don't know anything about it. I'm assuming that it takes place in the same time as Cinder, so I kind of know what it's going to be about, but I think it's from a completely different point of view, and that's all I got. The next book that I want to read in March is Crown of Midnight by Sarah J. Maas, which is the second book in the Throne of Glass series. I'm really excited to read this because it didn't really leave off as a cliffhanger, but I still want to know what happens next, and I need to know the rest of the story and where it goes, and it's actually going to be like a 5 or 6 book series, which I'm super excited about because I feel like there are a lot of trilogies lately, and I want more than that. I want to go really deep into the story and get all of the details, and that way it lasts longer and it will never end. Yay! And finally, because I like to read at least one contemporary a month, because you know, you gotta change it up every now and then, I'm going to read Meant to Be by Lauren Morrill. And this is about a girl who thinks she has her whole life planned out, and she has had a crush on the same guy since like elementary school, and she thinks that they're gonna get married and all of this stuff, but then she goes on a class trip to London, and oh my goodness, basically every book that takes place in London is just perfect, and I love them all. I love British men so much, I can't explain it to you. But she's paired up with a classmate, and they don't really get along, but then they go to a party and she starts getting texts from this random number the morning after, and he has to help her figure out who it is, so it's kind of exciting mystery-like thing, and I'm assuming they're gonna fall in love. Alright, so that concludes this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to thumbs it up and subscribe. I will be posting a new video very soon. Also, comment below what you're planning to read in March because I'm always looking for new suggestions. Thanks so much. Love you. Bye!